owner of the former Beckjord coal plant has a controversial plan.
It wants to inject 2 new chemicals into the site's groundwater, which is near Clermont County's primary drinking water well field, raising some health concerns.
Investigative reporter Paula Christian has been reporting on the contamination at Beckjord for more than 3 years.
What happens at Beckjord doesn't just affect the people who live here in Clermont County. It sits on the Ohio River, which is the drinking water source for 5 million people, with Cincinnati just downstream.
Duke Energy closed the Beckjord coal plant near New Richmond nearly a decade ago, leaving behind a massive amount of toxic coal fly ash. It sold the 1,400-acre site to Missouri-based Commercial Liability Partners in 2018, which is remediating it for new development. But the cleanup has not gone smoothly, and Clermont County Commissioner David Painter worries about its future.
We have to do everything that we can right now to ensure that we don't have a legacy contamination site here 30 years from now.
Residents have complained about blowing fly ash, a demolished smokestack falling into the Ohio River, missing groundwater monitoring wells, and now a plan to inject sodium lactate and sodium acetate into the groundwater through a new well in an effort to stop a plume of sulfate contamination.
The people here in Clermont County, they need to understand when someone is going to come in and inject chemicals into groundwater upfield from where their drinking water is actually extracted from the ground.
The Ohio EPA approved the experimental plan on May 26th, one day after CLP submitted it. No one from CLP responded to a request for comment. A spokesperson for the Ohio EPA says it was required to approve the project because it meets state criteria. But she did not say why the agency never notified Clermont County.
Would you have known if I didn't ask?
No, I don't think we would have. And that is concerning. And I thank you so much for, providing that information and making us aware of what was going on.
Environmental attorney Dave Altman is also worried. He represents more than 100 county residents who are suing CLP for allegedly violating an agreement to tell the public details about contaminated waste.
Now, the public ought to be asking, why was the public excluded from knowing about this? Why did it take a media inquiry to uncover this?
After Clermont officials complained to the Ohio EPA, it paused the start of the project until CLP can meet with county leaders to resolve their concerns. Altman wants CLP to find the source of the sulfate plume and remove the toxic waste, instead of injecting new chemicals into the groundwater. In a July 13th letter to the Ohio EPA, Clermont's Director of Utilities, Lyle Bloom, writes, quote, "Will this really be a benefit to water quality?
And are you going to make things worse?" And this, by the way, is an experiment. It's a pilot project in the real world near actual water wells.
Painter agrees.
So you've got groundwater that's contaminated with sulfide. Now it'll be contaminated with hydrogen sulfide. Why is that better, or making the water quality better? And just as fact, it isn't.
Paula Christian, WCPO 9, I-Team.